Welcome to Glorious Botafogo, your number one source of Botafogo news in English. The Glorioso beat Palmeiras yesterday on the aggregate score after a 2-2 tie on normal time. And what a crazy match it was last night. I had to take a day break to sort of collect my thoughts and let the adrenaline sort of go because that was a crazy match. I mean, by the time the game was 2-0, I'm sure there were some Botafogo fans that are like, "Oh no, we have to score 3, we have to score 4 because, what happened last year, blah blah blah." And honestly, I didn't think it was going to be that dramatic. The way that it was last night, it was I really hope nobody died yesterday from a heart attack or a stroke because Palmeiras scored 3 goals within a 5-minute period. The third goal happened to be in there was a foul with Gomez trapped the ball with his forearm / hand. It did hit him in the leg as well, but it hit him in the arm. If you hit him in the arm and they scored a goal, it doesn't count. It's in the rules. So I've seen some Palmeiras fans accounts, and it's probably just to troll or to farm engagement, saying that the ball didn't hit his hand. Come on. It cannot be more clear than what it was. It was a clear handball. It hit his hand. The goal was rightly called off. Not the very next play, Palmeiras had a free kick right outside the box. Gabriel Menino hit the post. The ball went out. Palmeiras threw it back in. Match over. So this was the last remnant of 2023. The fact that Botafogo's entire season went under after that Palmeiras game in a similar fashion in which they beat us 4-3 in full 90 minutes. And now Botafogo moves on into the quarterfinals of the Libertadores, something that hasn't happened since 2017 when Botafogo played Grêmio, by the aggregate result of 4-3 against Palmeiras. So I don't know. Sometimes things just work in mysterious ways. It's hard to understand. It's hard to comprehend. It's hard to talk about. But sometimes things just work the way they do, and that was one of the ways. It seems like the curse was broken, and the very last thing that haunted the club since 2023 is gone. So we win, we move on, we into the next stage. Botafogo plays São Paulo in the next round of the Libertadores Cup, but not before we play Bahia and Fortaleza because the Brasileirão is still there. Botafogo is not in the Copa do Brasil anymore. So now when there is no Libertadores matches, Botafogo is going to have a full week of training and practicing if there is Copa do Brasil matches, and gives a chance for Arthur Jorge to do his trainings and to commend the sessions and fix what needs to be fixed, tweak when needs tweaking and all that. But if one thing's for sure is that yesterday's match went down in the history books as one of the craziest, if not the craziest match in the history of that entire tournament so far. That's a lot of history behind that. But I want to emphasize the fact that the project is working, right? I've been talking to some fans from Lyon about their progress so far under the ownership of Eagle Football and John Textor. The plan for Botafogo to be fighting for these titles and to be a powerhouse was not meant to be in a short term. It was not a short-term goal. It was more a medium to a long-term objective. I remember an interview from John Textor that they were going to expect Botafogo to start fighting for titles in 2025, 2026. They wanted to stay within the first 10, and then they wanted to stay within the Libertadores zone, right? Qualify or not, just to stay in between the Libertadores zone. And then the next year was to be in the Libertadores zone. And then the next year was to fighting for titles and so on. So the fact that we are already fighting for titles kind of 2 years before it was supposed to happen. It was not in the plan. So things will not happen as quickly, or maybe they will, but it's not happening right now for Olympique Lyonnais. And I would just say, have patience. And I know it's hard to say, right? Botafogo just came from the second division, a place that it should have never been in. But it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. It's certainly not going to happen in a year. Hopefully, this year is better for OL than last year. I know the club started with a loss in the League One in the first fixture of the league. But I know fans are not entirely happy with the squad. They need new players. There's this rumor going around that John Textor needs to sell 100 million euros by the end of the transfer window, or he will get a 2-year ban. John Textor came out in a statement and said that is all false. There's no such thing in French football. So kind of wait to see what happens. There was also a lot of complaining that Textor was selling all the assets, and they sold a basketball arena, and he sold the women's team, and that money is not being used to purchase players and all that. I'm not very informed on all of the subject, so I can't give my full and honest opinion about it. However, all I say is when it comes to making sure the team is ready to fight for titles, give it a chance. It's not going to happen in a short-term goal. You know, Olympique Lyonnais is such a big club. They should always be fighting for those top 3 spots. But it needs a little bit, the project needs a little bit of room to sort of fill in the shoes. So just let it run its course. And speaking of the project, earlier tonight, maybe a couple hours ago, John Textor released an official statement and his website, johntextor.org, under the Crystal Palace press, about his intentions of selling the Crystal Palace shares in order to make a bid for the acquisition of Everton FC. It's been in the news for about a week now. The Textor's been meeting with the owners of Everton to make it a official bid to actually do the takeover. But in order for that to happen, John Textor has to sell his 45% ownership in Crystal Palace. So by doing so, he's able to own Everton, because he cannot own 2 teams in the same league. That is not allowed. So the statement came out tonight talking about he is selling his shares at Crystal Palace. All right, so here is the statement by John Textor. We can confirm that we are interested in selling our interest in Crystal Palace, largely so we can pursue a relationship with the Everton club and community. Several months ago, we hired Rain Group to begin the process of evaluating alternatives, as we were considering 2 very different alternatives at that time, either a purchase of majority interest at Crystal Palace or an outright sale. Here in this document as well, John Textor stated that there was no response in his offer for the major to buy the rest and become a majority owner, basically to buy out the rest of the people like Parish. And said that, you know, the interests of Crystal Palace and Eagle football no longer align. So it's better for both parties to just part ways and go their own way and still be, you know, part of this community that John Textor has been wanting, but not officially. So Crystal Palace out and Everton possibly in. So here to Crystal Palace, he says he's extremely proud of the contribution to Crystal Palace, especially at the academy level. John Textor is very big on that. You know, he's saying that, so why we sell just when things are getting so good? Well, Eagle Football is known to employ a highly integrated sport model across its football clubs with an unprecedented amount of scouting collaboration and player movement within the family of clubs. Our model of collaboration has led to the desirable turnaround success at Olympique Lyonnais in France, where we so quickly have returned to the Europa League competition, and Botafogo in Brazil, which have resurrected a historic club from bankruptcy in the second division to fight for championships in the top of Serie A. We're also excited about our work in progress in Belgium, which resulted in a quick championship and a historic promotion in the first year, which you must fight again to reclaim next year. So it just seems like kind of like a marriage when two people kind of fall out of love and then they divorce each other. And it's kind of basically what's happening here between John Textor and Crystal Palace. It's just it ran its course. So it is what it is. I'm sad to see Crystal Palace go, but I'm also excited to see what Everton's going to bring to the table as far as how the holding looks with Everton in the portfolio of clubs and how that affects the current clubs of the holding and how John Textor and Eagle Football can sort of resurrect Everton once again, because Everton's been struggling for the last few years, fighting not to be relegated. And I think it's one of the very few clubs that hasn't been relegated. It's in the Premier League. So it's been a fight. So I hope John Textor can fight the good fight over there and keep Everton afloat. A little bit of transfer news so I can finish this video and it not be incredibly long. Botafogo's offer for Jair, which is a center back from Santos, got rejected, and its president says they only sell Jair for the buyout fee, for the buyout clause, which I don't think John Textor is going to pay. So on to the next defender. The club is also interested in Juninho, which is a right back from Burnley. Apparently between Botafogo and the player, everything is good, everything is right. Salary, time of contract, and all that. Now it's just a fact of convincing Burnley, and especially the manager for that club, to release the right back player, because he is known for being a very versatile player, able to play in multiple positions, either right wing, right back, left wing, left back, which is very important. Mohamed El Arouche was officially announced by Botafogo yesterday, I believe. Yeah, the day of the match. El Arouche is ready to go. I think all the details and everything that in paperwork and all that work visa Botafogo needed to get, I think it's all done. I think the player might be able to start playing. He's been practicing and doing the behind the scenes videos for the matches. He's been present there since last Wednesday when Botafogo beat Palmeiras last week. So he was already in the locker room with his teammate. So don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Leaving the like is very important. So click on that like button. Make a comment. What do you think about this change? Crystal Palace out, Everton in. If you want to get Botafogo apparel like this, honestly, I'm in love with this. I just looking at it on the screen, I was like, it's pretty, but getting it in person and putting it on like this, I love it. I really do love this. And this is available at Fanatics. And if you use the code Glorious10, you get 10% off, which might take off your taxes and help a little bit with the shipping. Just depends how much how much you spend. But anyways, 10% off Botafogo and São Paulo Libertadores. But before then, Botafogo plays Bahia at Bahia, I believe. Let me just make sure so I don't tell you lies. Yeah, Botafogo plays Bahia this Sunday at 2 p.m. at Bahia. So an away game, very important game. And then after that, Botafogo is going to have Fortaleza. So, and they're in second. So it's time to get some points because there's another tough match coming ahead.